All right, so today we're just going to kind of have a continuation of what we did yesterday, except we're not just going to set up the proportions, we're also going to solve for them. So Charlie went to the mall and purchased 4 shirts for $40.95. How much would he spend if he bought 7 shirts? Round your answer to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So like we did yesterday, we're going to set up a proportion. And from here, we're going to use what we are comparing, which is shirts to money, to set up our proportion. Sorry, this is a ratio. I do apologize for that. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to highlight everywhere I see shirts. So Charlie went to the mall and purchased 4 shirts for $40.95. How much would he spend if he bought 7 shirts? And I'm not going to worry about this. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth yet. I'm also going to highlight my proportion. Remember, we want to be consistent. So I'm going to do the same with money, just with a different color. Charlie went to the mall and purchased 4 shirts for $40.95. How much would he spend if he bought 7 shirts? So here's where I think some people get tripped up, right? It doesn't explicitly show you a dollar amount. So you're kind of like, well, where's the money? But it does say the word spend, and it's asking us a question. How much would he spend? So we know that if it asks us a question, we're going to use a variable, right? Because we don't know what that is, and that's how we find it algebraically. We're going to plug in a variable there, use the information given, bam, we'll have the answer. So let's just start filling it out. Initially, we compare 4 shirts to $40.95. And we are comparing that to our second fraction for our proportion is going to be 7 shirts. And like I said, what we don't know. All right, so we've done this. So let's talk about how to solve. Okay, so we're going to solve using cross multiplication. And cross multiplication means that we're going to, if you want to say match up, multiply the different values that are diagonal from one another. So on my left-hand side, I will put 49.5 times 7. And I'm going to keep this equal sign in the middle. And then I'm going to, like we talked about yesterday, x finds its partner, right? Or x finds its teammate. So I'm going to have 4x. And we know that when we write 4x, it's the same as writing 4 times x or 4 times x, however you like to write it. But in math, we don't have to put a symbol there. All right, so when you go to solve, bust out your trusty calculator, Desmos, whatever works for you. We're going to do 49.5 times 7, which is going to give us 286.65, and that's going to equal 4x. We've been doing these all year. This is just a simple 2-step equation. I've already done the first step. Second step, divide each side by 4. We're going to do the opposite of our multiplication because we want to get this x by itself. And when you divide 286.65 by 4, you'll get 71.6625. Check your question. It says round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the thousandth and 10,000th place. And you can see that our answer is definitely A. All right, good news is this will be a short one too. So, I go a little quick because I know you guys can pause and rewind and replay. So Suzanne had some friends over and spent $30 on 5 pizzas. I hope she had a lot of friends over. That's a lot of pizza. They got hungry again later on in the evening and ended up buying 3 more pizzas. How much did Suzanne spend on those 3 pizzas? That's our question. Well, we're comparing money and pizza. Again, you could flip these. You could have pizza over money if you want, just as long as you're consistent. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up my proportion. Well, make sure that I highlight my money. So everywhere I see money in this question, I'm going to highlight it. So Suzanne spent 30 bucks. Highlight that. 5 pizzas. They got hungry again later on in the evening, ended up buying 3 more pizzas. How much did Suzanne spend? That's money. And there's your question. How much? Notice I skipped over all the pizza information because we're going to use that for our denominator. All right, come back through. 5 pizzas. That goes with the 30. They got hungry again, ended up buying 3 more pizzas. And it goes with our question, how much did she spend on those 3 pizzas? Now I don't really need to highlight this last one because I've pretty much already highlighted it initially. So come back, just start filling it in. So my first comparison is going to be my $30 to my 5 pizzas. My next comparison is going to be how much they spent on these 3 pizzas. Well, I know that I have 3 pizzas for information, but I don't know how much they spent. All right, so we should be pretty solid on setting these up right now. All right, cross multiplication. All right, so I'm going to multiply my numbers first. Don't worry about the variable. Don't worry about the x and its friend, right? Don't worry about the x, its partner. Let's worry about the numbers first. So I'm going to have 30 times 3, and that's going to equal 5x. Right, and that 5x came from cross multiplying. What you guys will notice, just like we did yesterday, we were matching up x with its friend, with its partner. It was diagonal, right? That's why we brought up diagonal yesterday. So 30 times 3 is 90. That's going to equal 5x. We're going to do the inverse or the opposite of multiplication here to get that x by itself. So the 5s will cancel out, and we will have x equals 18. Again, make sure you guys are using a calculator. Don't make silly mistakes by trying to do some of this stuff in your head when you're allowed to use a calculator. All right, Ms. Halloran took a poll of her students asking them how much they enjoyed her class. Of her 60 students, 35% said they enjoyed it. How many students in total enjoyed the class? So there's a lot of information, a lot of small details, I should say, that you need to look into here. So first, I want to remind you that yesterday in class, we said that a percent is always over 100. All right, notice I drew this third extra bar. That's to kind of give us a better template. All right, so the previous 2, remember I said there's kind of like 3 different types of problems for this. The previous 2 are pretty straightforward, cut and dry. Well, each type of these problems has its own pro, like its own positive thing. And the first ones are pretty cut and dry. Well, this one, right away, we see this 35%. So you can pretty much put 35 over 100. So you have your first half of your proportion already done for you. Well, let's look at this second half. Well, what are we looking for? So let's go through and let's read. Ms. Halloran took a poll of all of her students, okay? Asking them how much they enjoyed her class. Of her 60 students, we'll come back to this. I'll put a little notation around it. 35% said they enjoyed her class. How many students in total enjoyed the class? Enjoyed the class. A lot of you see this total and you're like, oh yeah, we were doing part over whole or part over total. And you're like, bam, got it. I'm gonna put my X down here because it says total. Nope. It says total students in total that enjoyed. So our part is actually going to be students that enjoyed. And our total is going to be the students polled, right? Students polled. All right, so let's look at it. Ms. Halloran took a poll of all of her students. Of her 60 students, she has a total of 60 students. Our question is, how many in total enjoyed the class? So that's where our variable goes. All right, so you get the first half for free, but you have to put in a little bit of extra effort for that second half. All right, so let's go ahead and cross multiply. Remember, we're going to pick our numbers first. I'm going to do this one a little bit different, show you a possibly quicker way for you. So I'm going to do 60 times 35. I'm going to write 60 times 35. Well, I know that's going to equal 2,100. Whoops, 2,100. I know that when I do it the more traditional way, I always end up dividing by X's partner, right? Well, let's skip writing it all out and just cut to the chase. Let's divide by 100. All right, notice we leave the X alone. We're dividing by 100. And if you use some basic arithmetic, you'll see that X equals 21. And that means that 21 out of 60 students enjoy their math class. All right, this pie chart below is a poll taken asking students their favorite activity is. 80 students said they enjoy watching television. What is the total number of students that were originally polled? So you might look at this and be like, oh no, they only give us one number, one piece of information in this whole statement. Right? In this whole question, this whole word problem, they give us one piece of information. But they give us this wonderful pie chart that's going to help us out with everything else. So we're looking here at this 20% television, right? We're looking here at 20% television because it says enjoy watching television. So we know that our percent is going to be 20 over 100 because it gives it to us right here, right? It gives us our percent. Well, that needs to equal another fraction. And let's talk about what that fraction is going to be. Well, what's this question asking us? It says, what is the total number of students that were originally polled? Now, I realize in the last question I said, don't always believe when you see this word total. But when you have total pair with originally, all right, that's a pretty dead ringer. That's a giveaway, right? So we're going to have total students. All right. And then we're going to have students that like to watch TV, which I'm surprised is not a lot higher than 20%. All right. So let's just grab our info. Well, we know that 80 students said they enjoy watching television. So that 80 is going to match up with our 20% in a way. And we don't know. We just do not know what the total students are. So let's cross multiply. Remember, I'm going to do this that kind of tricky or easier, well, faster way, in my opinion. So 100 times 80 is going to give you 8,000. And we know that we're going to divide by X's partner. So I divide by 20, 0, 2 goes in 8, that's going to equal 400. So that's how many people were originally polled. All right, Melanie went to purchase cupcakes. Sorry, I guess I would prefer a cheesecake. For her mother's birthday, she bought a total of 48 cupcakes. Of that total amount, 3/4 were vanilla. How many of those were vanilla cupcakes? Well, I told you yesterday, check this bad boy out. If they give you a fraction, please save yourself the time and use it. This is kind of like that third type. So like I said, they all have their pros. They all have a bonus. The first one's straightforward, right? They give you all the info. They give you a percent. You get half of the proportion. Here we got half of the proportion, 3/4. But let's talk about what that proportion is. So what this is saying, what this 3/4 is saying, that out of every 4 cupcakes, 3 are going to be vanilla. All right, 3 are going to be vanilla. All right, so let's read the question again. Went to purchase cupcakes for her mother's birthday, whatever. She bought a total of 48 cupcakes. All right, so I'm thinking it's going to be 48 here, but I'm not sure yet. Let's keep reading. Of that total amount, there's total again. Okay, so still, now I'm feeling pretty good. 3/4 were vanilla cupcakes. How many of those were vanilla cupcakes? Well, here's my vanilla cupcakes. So I know that's right. So my variable is going to go in the numerator. Quick cross multiplication. 3 times 48. 3 times 48. Again, look, I'm going to use a calculator on this because, you know, I'm a math teacher, not a calculator. That's 144. And I'm going to look from X's partner, which is 4, divide by 4. And you'll see that that is going to be 36. I know a lot of you guys and girls looked at it right away and were like, 3/4 of 48 is 36. You can do it that way too if that's the question they give you. Like I say, I don't care how you do it as long as you get it right. Other than that, if you have any questions, ask your teacher. Make sure you're getting your makeup work done. You take that Unit 7 test. I'll see you tomorrow.